languages, music as a universal language, and emotional dysregulation. Want to see how I tie them all together? Stay tuned. I love languages. I have dabbled in Spanish, kind of Russian, German. I spent over 2 years self-studying Mandarin Chinese, which is really my first love of second languages. I love American Sign Language, or ASL. I just love languages. I also love how music is a universal language. Now, when I talk to people about music being a universal language, the way most people think of it is like sheet music, right? Because the notes and all the things that go into sheet music don't change no matter what your spoken language is. That's a universal language, which is very true. But there's another way in which music is a universal language that I've only kind of wrapped my head around recently. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. But before we do that, huge shout out to Reimagined Media for their help with my channel and my post-production. Thank you to Jake, my producer. I'm going to have links to their socials in the description. Please check out what they've got going on over there as well. Now, before we jump into the second way that music is a universal language, I want to touch on something about ADHD and kind of get us all on the same page. Please remember, I am not a medical professional. I am mostly just sharing my thoughts and my insights in the life that I've lived. And ADHD is a spectrum, so even what I'm experiencing with ADHD isn't going to be the same that everyone experiences or to the same degree, and that's okay. One channel that I specifically follow is called How to ADHD. I'm going to link that in the description as well. She does a ton of research, a ton of interviews. She really has amazingly good content. And so I would highly recommend that if you're wanting more information on any of the things that I talk about ADHD, because she'll get into it more specifically and more scientifically than what I'm doing. So what we're going to talk about today is emotional dysregulation. Now, emotional dysregulation is not unique to ADHD. In fact, when I was in my 20s, I thought I might be bipolar because my highs were too high and my lows were too low, and I couldn't see any triggers for why that was happening. I thought my emotions were just completely out of control. They are, but you know what I mean. So it's only been recently, maybe in the last year, and I think that might be being generous to myself, that I've begun to see there are triggers. They just don't make sense. Example, as a parent, when my kids were even younger, I don't really do kids. I don't have patience for them like I wish I did. So my kids would do something that was, slightly irritating, just childishness, but it would cause me to just completely go way out. I would blow up, I'd get super angry, I'd be snapping at them for stuff that it doesn't even make sense to do that to, but my emotions would just rant. The other end would be things like getting really good constructive criticism, but if I was dysregulated, instead of hearing it as criticism, I would hear it as rejection, and I would go down a path of depression, triggered by rejection that wasn't actually happening because I was dysregulated. So for me, I had to start seeing this dysregulation so that I could actually deal with it. Because for me, at least, my emotional dysregulation, if I can't see it, I can't deal with it because I don't know what's triggered me. I don't know why I'm acting that high or that low to be able to process information. So back to music. Music is a universal language. So the second way that music is a universal language is that music is a language of emotion. A great example of this is what Hollywood does to manipulate our emotions with music. So if Hollywood wants us to be scared, wants us to be unsure, wants us to be pumped up with adrenaline, wants us to be excited, whatever they want us to do, most of the time, music is incorporated into the other ways in which they try to get us to that place. They use music to manipulate our emotions. Now, for me, with the way that my emotional dysregulation works and my ADHD, I can both positively and negatively be influenced by music as an emotional language. On the negative side would be if I can't see my dysregulation, I will often go and listen to music, but I'll listen to the music I feel like listening to in the moment, which in a dysregulated state is generally music that actually keeps me dysregulated or ramps me up even more instead of helping me come back to center. So that's the negative way. Music can actually pull us emotionally where we don't want to go. Now, the way that I am slowly beginning to be able to use music to manipulate my emotions where they need to be is on the positive side. So for me, what that looks like is if I can see the dysregulation and I can say it out loud and often try to identify what triggered me that, again, is disproportionate to how I'm feeling, but you can't just shut those feelings off. Even understanding facts, there's a process to kind of get yourself back to center. I will isolate myself because I need to have less stimulation because I tend, in my ADHD, I tend to get way overstimulated. I will put on noise canceling headphones for the same reason. And then for me, I do instrumental, no words music. Now for some of you that would put you to sleep, and that's not the goal because that doesn't always help. But for me, it's things like I'll do Philip Wesley's Dark Night of the Soul because I love that CD and always have. I might be up for more and I'll do, Lindsey Sterling or the Piano Guys or the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, whatever, but I need to keep it at just the music and music that's not ramping me up, but is bringing me to an emotionally stable and regulated state. So for me, that's how music can help me get my emotions where they need to be, to help me function like a more typical adult, dad, husband, as I need to. So how about you guys? Questions, comments, anything about music as an emotion? Share all those in the comments section. If you have discussion topic suggestions, please put those in the comments as well. And as always, if those topics catch my interest, I'll make a video about it. If you enjoyed the show today, please consider subscribing and click that bell icon for notifications, and I'll catch you next time on All Things Nate.